Hi, welcome to Comic Talk. I'm Josh.
And I'm Drew.
And this is our weekly comic pull list review. This is for November 18th. This week we have 5 titles we're going to talk about. Let me just show you real quick. We got Bloodshot, Reborn. We've got I Hate Fairyland, number 2. We have Suicide Squad, New Suicide Squad, 14. We have Astonishing Ant-Man, number 2, I think, number 2. And the Mighty Thor, number 1. So we're going to start off at the front of that list. We'll talk about the Valiant title, Bloodshot Reborn. This is by Jeff Lemire. Hold that beautiful title image picture thing up. This is Lemire, Guichi. I have no idea how to say that guy's name.
Let me see that.
And Baron.
Gweiss?
Gweiss? That's not Gweiss, is it? Is that really?
I don't know.
I don't know either. It's a fucking weird name,
man.
man.
The Gweiss.
Well, I'll tell you what, he makes up for it because he's a pretty damn good artist. Yeah. So let's talk about Bloodshot Reborn a little.
Ray's hunt for the hunter goes horribly awry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this was set up in 7. We had a cliffhanger in 7.
Yeah, we should talk about that a little bit because we don't have episodes for 6 or 7. We only have through 5.
We'll talk about that real quick. So we did a trade review of 1 through 5. And I'll try to remember to put the link below on that. But we're just now picking this up at 8 to start reading. So we've got nothing about 6 or 7. We've got no videos on that. So with 6 and 7, basically we get to see a new infected guy who is hunting down the other ones and trying to get to them before Ray can get to them so he can become powerful and become the new Bloodshot. And,
yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, that's pretty much all we get. We get a little bit with the detectives learning a little bit more as well.
Just blanket, what did you think about this issue?
I loved it, actually. Yeah. It was really simple, and I didn't love the last few pages, the ending with it. I don't know, a little bit cliche there or silly or something.
So to clarify, are you talking about the end with like the reveal of the last nanite guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. Actually, the part that bothered me was okay. So spoiler: at one point, the girl he's with gets infected with the nanites, and then he just kind of absorbs them out of her. I thought that was a little bit cheeky.
Yeah.
I thought they could have spent, like, at least half of the book about him lamenting the fact that he was going to have to murder her now. Here you go.
Yeah, just hug it out.
Right. They just hug it out. That's the solution to the fucking problem.
Yeah.
And the alternative is he would have had to murder her. So,
right.
Come on.
Yeah, So what we've learned now is that he can either murder the other Bloodshot nanite people, or he can just hug it out with them.
And he's been going with murder up till now.
Yeah. So maybe he should rethink his strategy a little, because it seems like hugging it out's the better route.
Yeah. I think the logic was like because it just happened to her or something like that. But again, that feels cheap too.
Yeah.
But artwork-wise, I thought this was pretty strong. I just flipped to this randomly, but it's a great example of the really creative paneling that we get. And there's a lot of cool color things, which you have to spend money to see. So
that's exactly what sold me on this issue.
Yeah.
This guy, he's been doing the art since 6.
Okay.
I don't think he did 1 through 4. Like, this is a different guy now.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing Gweiss anywhere.
Right. 1 through 4 was somebody, 5 was a guest artist, and now since 6 we've had this guy. And I love this guy's art. Mm-hmm. This reminds me of, like, early 2000s DC stuff that I love, like that Catwoman run. Mm-hmm. I think that was Mike Allred.
Yeah.
And also the stuff on Gotham Central that we've reviewed. We've actually reviewed both of those.
Yeah.
And we loved the art in both of those. And this just reminds me of those. It also reminds me a little bit of what's going on in the Fade Out with the style of it.
Deliberately 2D, I would say, and just rough and kind of dirty.
Yeah, I love all the cross hatching and just
lots
this,
of cross hatching.
Yeah, just the style overall of the pencil and ink work is just really cool, and the paneling is neat. Like they do a good job of mixing up really classic paneling. We get some cool 2-page spreads where the 2-page spread is paneled, but it's paneled like a cross, and we get these interesting angular panels, and
It's very creative overall.
They all work really well with the story that's being told and like moving the story forward. It doesn't feel contrived. It's really cool stuff.
Yeah, not at all.
All right, well, let's move on. Let's talk about something else that really a big draw of it is the artwork here. This is I Hate Fairyland number 2. This is Young and Bolo or Bulu or
That
guy.
Yeah.
Jean-Francois Bolo.
She pretty much just keeps looking for the key and murder and shit. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of, I mean, when we did Giant Size Little Marvel, it was the same way. Like, you try to talk about the plot, and it's like, well, I mean, it's whatever. It was really good, though.
Yeah.
So let's go into why it was really good.
Yeah, well, it's just so funny. I mean, the way he plays with your expectations of these fantastical characters, and then just constantly he sets up an expectation, and then he just rips you as hard as he can the other way with them. It's just he sets them up and knocks them down.
Yeah, the end of the first issue was, I mean, we're supposed to take this like hunter guy very seriously, and then the first couple pages of this is her just like playing with his decapitated head
Right.
and like basically being friends with it and drinking.
Mm-hmm. And we're starting to see running gags. I like the running gag where we have a different narrator this time, and he's immediately like, oh no, why do I have to do this? Like, this is not going to end well for me, and it doesn't, of course.
Yeah. I also really like the Fly as her partner in this. He's a really great character.
Her foil, in a way.
Yeah.
He's sort of the straight man of the duo, in a way.
Yeah, he's kind of a dick, too.
Yeah, he's very sarcastic and dry, though, in his humor. He's got a very British sensibility to him.
I can see that.
But yeah, he's very funny, and I can't quite decide, which I think is a great writing with that character. I can never quite decide if he's intentionally irritating her, or if it's just he's a fantastical character that can't help but be the way he is.
Right.
You know, he rides this great line that is constantly funny, I think. And we also, man, just the artwork in here is, again, just beautiful stuff. Just so vibrant, and what a weird combination still. We said it last time, and I think it's the same here again, where it's just vibrant and beautiful and cute.
Yeah, but also brutal.
Just brutal and gory, and brains getting eaten. And
it's weird. It's like if Powerpuff Girls was on like Adult Swim instead of just regular daytime stuff. The super jail of cute characters.
Yeah, it's pretty good stuff. If you like Scotty Young, or you even vaguely think you might like this, it's awesome. Also, is this something you would say you could pick up at issue 2?
Oh yeah,
I think so too.
Why not?
It's the kind of story I think you could pick this up at, I'm guessing, any issue from now on, and just jump right into it. So if you don't want to try to track down number 1, which is, I'm guessing, probably pretty hard now, just pick up number 2 and start reading. It's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Again, plot-wise, not a lot happens. You kind of just read it for the characters and the events and the hilarity.
Yeah. All right, well, let's jump over to our only DC book this week. This is New Suicide Squad. This is still Ryan, Briones, and Blonde. This team has been on this since the start now, haven't they? This is
I believe so, yeah.
like issue 14, so they've been on this now for over a year. Run us through this real quick.
So Sage kind of goes rogue and tries to kill everybody, and then everybody tries to kill Waller.
Yeah. Like I often say with this series, it doesn't feel like a lot happened.
Yeah, I wasn't the biggest fan of this issue.
Me neither.
I thought it was just basically a fight scene. I thought the most interesting thing was that Manta got a little scene at the end, because we haven't heard anything about him. And then just the idea of Vic Sage putting something in motion. Though I think maybe your theory may be correct because they said he works for some corporation or something. So I think they're just maybe using him as a name and not like his actual character.
Right. I wouldn't be surprised if in New 52 they want to go with Renee Montoya as the eventual The Question, simply for the diversity of it. You know, Vic Sage is just another white guy. So
Sure.
I can see why they might...
But that doesn't mean he can't be like the grandfather Question, you know?
Yeah, he should. I would love to see him somehow tie into The Question or
Yeah, like supporting role of some sort. Like
Right.
how Aristotle Rodor was to Vic Sage.
That would be awesome.
It'd be perfect.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic. But I don't know if we're going to get that or even a hint at any sort of question-y kind of stuff here. It seems like he's just a name to fill in the blank because they needed a character that people would recognize.
Yeah, they were like, we're going to have this guy try to screw everything up, and somebody at corporate was like, let's make it Vic Sage!
Yeah.
Name recognition!
Yeah, exactly. Ryan, prove us wrong because we love Vic Sage, man.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I agree. There wasn't anything super great here. It was pretty short. Very
The dialogue
another
during-
fast read.
Yeah. The dialogue during the fight scene I wasn't too really impressed with either. It was kind of like half-baked psychology.
Right, and we didn't get any real character development of any sort here. Maybe they tried, it seemed like, a little bit with Harley, but like you said, it was, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything about it was just very obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another setup issue. They're trying to give us a new dynamic, and they have to kind of show us how that happens, I guess.
Yeah.
They really could have just jumped straight into it, made what happened in here a page, honestly, in my mind, but whatever. All right, well, let's move over to Marvel. This is Astonishing Ant-Man #2. This is Spencer, Rosanas, and Boyd. This is the team that's been working on this now for about a year as well. I know this is #2, but they've already had a full run, and we got the reboot and all that.
Yeah, and then there's a Secret Wars break.
Right.
Whatever.
And then it's pretty much just picks right off where it stopped. So it's really more like Astonishing Ant-Man #8 or 9 or 7 or whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah. So his employees get a little bit shady, and he's confronted by an ex who's also a superhero and also a pop star as well. Did quite well for himself on that one.
Yeah, I guess so. So I think we have both been pretty consistently charmed by this series.
Yeah.
And I'm still feeling the same way with this one.
Absolutely.
I really loved this issue. I got a lot of laughs out of it, and it's just unique.
I would agree. It's easily going to make it in my top ones for this month. I mean, I can already see it. It's charming, I think, is really the best adjective that I can come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just
The best adjective I can come up with?
shut up. Best adjective that I can come up with that's already been mentioned in this conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, you just really root for this guy. You really want him to win. You really fall in love with all these characters. You care about these people.
Mm-hmm. And it's got some really goofy, almost Silver Age charm to it that I haven't seen anyone else really do this so deftly, where you get a very slice of life modern comic storytelling, but then mixed in with this really goofy Silver Age aesthetic of characters that monologue. And, shady deals that don't make any sense, and just weird characters that don't belong in modern comics by most people's standards. This is almost... I feel like this series is becoming Nick Spencer's ode to Grant Morrison. You
think so?
It has kind of that feel from back when Morrison was first getting popular and was taking these weird old characters like Doom Patrol and Animal Man that nobody gave a shit about and saying, like, let's thrust them into, like, modern problems. And so we see Spencer kind of doing this now with Marvel characters. Let's bring in Machine Guy, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah,
and
I
let's
can't think of...
the Magician and, like,
yeah.
all these goofy old characters.
And he was, like, actually getting revenge for, like his teacher who got in a fight with the old Ant-Man, but he wasn't even Ant-Man at the time. He was somebody else.
Yeah, he was being Giant Man.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, but that's not even me. That's like Giant Man. Come on now.
I can't think of anything more since that's this funny. I mean.
Oh, well, no,
you know.
but I just mean like the trope of taking like old goofy Silver Age stuff and like thrusting it into a modern comic.
And I think it's the perfect title to do that, just because, I mean, it is Ant-Man.
Right.
Like, the only way that this is viable right now is because it's endearing and fun. You know, I mean, nobody really gives a shit about Ant-Man. This is probably one of their intended like comic nerd titles that they put out. Like, they know the kids are going to go for like Iron Man and shit. So, you know, this is one of those titles where they can really like, we'll put Nick Spencer on it and let's just see what he does with it.
Yeah,
He's like, all right, I want to do this and this and this and this. And they're like, you know, fine, fuck it. You know, that's the route you want to go.
Yeah, certainly. And I mean, there's some specific stuff in here that I really love too. Like the whole conversation with Darla, where they're talking. It gets a bit meta in that he's talking about like after the happy ending, like, oh, I punched Dr. Doom and everybody, you know, saved the day, and then we kissed, and then after that we had, you know, sitting around watching Netflix, and it got real boring, you know. Which you just don't get that sort of thing in most comics, and to really have an entire like third of this comic was them sitting just talking about their relationship and how.
Yeah, there was another meta moment when there was a negotiation scene, and they told them they had like the briefcase full of money, and they were like, you can keep the briefcase too. Nobody ever mentions that.
Yeah, I love that.
And, so it's just like a couple things that, just like you always notice, like on TV and movies, like why does nobody ever say goodbye before they, you know, like stop talking on the phone? It's absurd.
Yeah, and there's just so much of that. This is just packed full of things like that. You know, we could probably sit here and like name a whole bunch of other things. I know I could. I'm not gonna, but I could. You know, it's just packed full of like commentary about comics and about the past of Marvel and comics in general, but not done in like a nerdy, like inside baseball kind of way. It's a very opposite of that. It's very approachable.
Which brings me to a point I was going to make about the artwork. When we're talking about the Silver Age goofiness of it, and we do have that Silver Age goofy character, and then when he's telling his story, there's like, you know, little shots behind him of like Silver Age comics. Which I thought was really a neat way to make things a little bit more accessible, because then it's just like, oh, you don't need to know about this guy. Just like, look, he was here and he was around back in the day, and that's the gist of it. So, yeah, I think it's a very clever trick on making things like that more accessible.
Yeah, and you know what? This is the second time we've seen that trick used in the All New, All Different. We saw that in Doctor Strange #1.
We did.
The first page, they did the same thing. They used actual...
Is it the same artist?
No, totally different.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's just a clever trick that I guess these guys are all passing around, you know?
Yeah.
I really like it. I think it's a really clever way to do a backstory.
Yeah, and it's very, like, our generation at that. I mean, even with music and everything, I mean, you know, you can go out and see a band that sounds like the 70s, and then the next one will sound like the 80s, and the next one will sound like, you know, 2009 or something like that, you know, and that's just kind of what our generation is. It's just the ability to put all that shit together in a way that, you know, that's kind of getting off on a rant.
But no, it's a good point. Like a decade ago, we would not see that because those old styles of comics were considered childish or silly. They were kind of hidden away and like, we don't talk about these, right?
Yeah.
But now it's okay again. It's like, all right, this happened. It was a thing. Let's reference it. Let's not pretend like it doesn't exist. Let's just embrace it and let it be part of the all new, all different Marvel.
Not to mention the internet exists, so people that like Silver Age comics can find each other.
There was even, on a side note, in one of the Spider-Man spin-offs with like Spider-Gwen.
Sure.
The like last issue, most recent one. She crashes in through an office building, right? And have you seen the Spider-Man meme? I'm just sitting here masturbating.
Oh, yeah.
It's him. It's that image. And she, like, lands in that room. And she's like, what are you doing? Because he's just sitting, you know, it's that image. It's just more of that, you know? So they're really playing around a lot with, like, taking old imagery. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah. I didn't know you were reading Spider-Gwen.
I'm not,
actually.
I just on Internet of Things, I came across it, Let's talk about Mighty Thor number 1. This is Aaron Dodderman and Wilcon. Is it Wilson? It's an S. My handwriting's so bad I can't even read it.
Wilcon.
Wilcon.
It's more the reputation than the man.
Yeah. Right.
So this is about Jane Foster, and she's got cancer. She's also Thor, and there's a bunch of space politics.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is another title that I just grabbed.
Sure.
Said, let's read that. Because we just got so many of these all new, all different Marvels. I would hate for us to just like miss an interesting one and be reading other things and not grab them when we got this great chance to do a number 1s. So I grabbed this one because it's Aaron. We kind of miss Aaron after Weird World is gone. And so I picked it up. I love the premise of this. I love Jane Foster as Thor. I love her having cancer and this whole thing about when she changes, it automatically just all the chemo is just gone. And so then when she changes back, she's back at square one again, and the cancer's just getting worse. I think it's a great setup. It's perfect Jason Aaron fodder. Mm-hmm. But I didn't love the issue.
No, I felt lost for most of it. I think you maybe have to be pretty into Thor for this, because it struck me as there's just so much shit going on that if you don't know who everybody is, you just don't understand the significance of certain things. I wasn't in love with it at all.
Me neither. I kind of felt the same way. I don't know why you would do a number 1 issue like this and then focus on like interdimensional politics.
Yeah, a ton of big picture shit.
Right? This is fucking Jane Foster Thor with a hammer. Like, give me that character. Let me learn that character and introduce me to a little piece of that, not the whole thing. Send her to Jotunheim and have her see what's going on there, or send her to the realm of the elves and let me see what's happening there. Don't give me the whole picture. Give me a little piece of it so I can get invested, because I'm not invested
at all. No.
The art was pretty neat. It wasn't great, but it was pretty cool. I liked a lot of the coloring, especially. I thought the coloring was really strong.
Yeah, it was interesting enough that just thumbing through it caught my eye. Mm-hmm. Like, I probably would have picked it up just because of the artwork.
Which is what happened to me. I said, it's Jason Aaron. The art looks cool.
Can't lose, right?
And we made a joke about Lady Thor, and maybe we should read that. So those 3 together, I said, let's give it a try. I'm not super sold on it.
Unfortunately.
It's confusing, not Thory. Thory?
I don't really give a shit if it's Thory or not.
It's not.
The story didn't interest me.
I don't even feel like it's Lady Thory. I don't feel like it's Jane Fostery. It's just politicky. Just what? All right, so I think that's going to wrap it up for us this week. Yeah. Next Wednesday we'll be back with another one of these with different comics, because
that's what we do.
There'll be like new ones out next week.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to read them, and then we'll tell you what we think of them. It's kind of our gig. Next Monday, we'll be talking about Runaways Volume 2. That's Brian K. Vaughan. It's awesome, and we will tell you more about it. That's all I got to say to you today. So push buttons,
comment, subscribe.
More comments. We love your comments. Been
Facebook
a lot of great
and Twitter.
ones.